What if turning 50 wasn't the beginning of the end, but the start of your encore? Think about it. The body you've lived in for half a century has carried every joy, mistake, and miracle you've ever known. And it's still here, waiting for you to start living like you mean it. People say life slows down after 50. But what if they're wrong? What if it's the opposite, the age where things finally speed up in meaning? This is the decade where you stop performing for others, stop apologizing for wrinkles, and start dancing to the rhythm of your own freedom. Because freedom after 50 isn't a luxury, it's a decision. And if you think your story is over, darling, you're only on chapter 2. There's an old cliche that says life begins at 40. But what if that's just the warm-up, and 50 is where the real story unfolds? For generations, society sold us a script. 50 meant slowing metabolism, fading relevance, early retirement, and taking it easy. But modern research says otherwise. Studies from Harvard and the National Institute on Aging show that happiness follows a U-shaped curve. It dips in midlife and rises dramatically after 50. By 65, people report being happier, more content, and more emotionally stable than at any other time in life. So maybe this isn't decline. Maybe it's clarity. When the pressure to prove fades, what's left is authenticity, the quiet power of knowing who you are and what no longer deserves your energy. As Neil Donald Walsh wrote in Conversations with God, your body was designed to last forever. Whether or not you take that literally, the message rings true. Our potential for renewal is far greater than we think. Every January, millions of people scribble down New Year's resolutions, only to abandon them by February. But freedom after 50 isn't about starting another diet plan or writing a list you'll forget. It's about designing a lifestyle that feels like yours. Tatiana Scholzman, a fitness and lifestyle coach, puts it perfectly. The mind will never resist freedom. That's the secret. The more we force ourselves into rigid plans, the more our minds rebel. But when we live in flow, choosing foods, movements, and habits that feel joyful rather than punishing, the body thrives. At 50, freedom means throwing away the calorie counter and rediscovering what it means to eat, move, and live with pleasure. It means saying yes to the glass of wine without shame, yes to dessert without guilt, and yes to the joy of balance. There comes a day when you look in the mirror and realize something beautiful. You've outlived the opinions of those mean, skinny girls from high school. They're gone, but you're still here, wiser, weathered, and wonderfully real. Every wrinkle, every soft curve, every silver thread of hair is a line of poetry written by time. Freedom over 50 is learning to read it with pride. Body shaming loses its grip when you stop trying to meet a fantasy standard and start living in gratitude for what your body still does. Waking, breathing, dancing, laughing, creating. Science backs this up too. Research from Yale University found that people who have positive views of aging live on average 7.5 years longer than those who don't. That's longer than the benefit of quitting smoking. So maybe the best anti-aging secret isn't in a bottle, it's in a mindset. If there's one kind of freedom that feels revolutionary after 50, it's this. You finally stop caring what people think. You've seen too much to keep bending yourself to fit into small boxes. You've learned that people who judge you are often just mirroring their own dissatisfaction. One woman beautifully said, "I used to live on an emotional seesaw. My self-worth rose and fell with other people's approval, but now I live for an audience of one." That's the essence of true freedom, resting in imperfection, choosing peace over perfection, and letting others' noise fade into background static. After all, your worth doesn't need applause. It just needs recognition from you. By the time you hit 50, you've already lived through heartbreaks, betrayals, losses, and rebirths. You've tasted what it means to hit rock bottom and still find a way up. Freedom now means you no longer mistake pain for purpose. You can spot toxicity from miles away, and you no longer feel guilty for walking away. You learn that forgiveness isn't letting someone back in, it's letting yourself go free. As the saying goes, don't set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Freedom after 50 is choosing warmth without burning. And here's the irony. The moment you release those old emotional anchors, you become lighter, mentally, spiritually, even physically. Your body responds to peace the way flowers respond to sunlight. When you were 20, success meant titles, money, approval, and progress. Now, success might mean a slower morning coffee, a call from your grown child, a garden that's finally blooming. This isn't shrinking, it's refining. A 2024 AARP study found that over 70% of adults aged 50 to 65 reported higher life satisfaction when they redefined success around purpose, connection, and health, rather than external achievement. You realize you don't need $1 million to be the CEO of your life. What you need is autonomy, the power to make choices that reflect who you truly are. Because freedom, as Scholzman said, isn't just the absence of control, it's the presence of joy. The myth that you can't teach an old dog new tricks is one of the most damaging lies about aging. Neuroscience now confirms the opposite. The human brain remains plastic, capable of growth, rewiring, and new learning well into our 80s. In fact, older adults often learn better because they connect information with life experience and empathy. Want to learn a language? Start a business? Master pottery or coding? Do it now. The greatest tragedy isn't aging, it's assuming you're done evolving. Freedom over 50 is the liberation from I can't. It's the joyful rebellion of trying anyway. There's something profoundly spiritual about imperfection. At this age, you realize not every battle must be fought, not every silence filled, not every problem solved immediately. You stop chasing flawless and start savoring enough. As one writer said, "It is what it is," which gives me the chance to ask, what if this were enough? There's relief in that question, freedom in it too, because peace isn't the absence of flaws, it's the acceptance of them. It's knowing your worth doesn't fluctuate with your productivity or your appearance. It simply is. Gratitude at 50 and beyond becomes less of a list and more of a lifestyle. You begin to see blessings in the smallest moments: your morning sunlight, your friends who stayed, your body that still moves, your laughter that hasn't aged a day. Studies show that practicing gratitude can increase happiness levels by up to 25% and even reduce physical pain. Freedom now isn't just external, it's spiritual. It's choosing gratitude not because life is perfect, but because it's real. And with that comes a profound grace, the quiet understanding that everything you've lived through was preparing you to live this well. With years comes perspective, the understanding that love in all its forms is what endures. At 50, you love differently, slower, deeper, more deliberately. You no longer chase approval or fairy tales, you value peace, honesty, and humor. You learn to say, "I love you, I'm proud of you, I'm grateful for you." Not because you fear losing time, but because you finally understand its worth. You learn that love isn't youth's privilege, it's wisdom's gift. Maybe freedom over 50 is simply this: choosing life again, intentionally, to wake up curious, to stop numbing pain with busyness or blame, to find joy in progress, not perfection, to wear what you love, say what you mean, and do what feels right for your soul. It's the radical act of living freely, not fearfully, of realizing that this chapter isn't your epilogue, but your evolution. Because 50 isn't a finish line. It's the frontier of your true self, the place where the noise fades, the wisdom deepens, and the heart begins to speak clearly. You've spent decades learning, giving, falling, rising. You've mastered survival. Now it's time for something better. Thrival. This is your upgrade, version 2.0. A life lived not by rules but by resonance. Not by others' expectations but your own truth. Freedom over 50 doesn't mean breaking away, it means finally coming home to yourself. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. We'd love your thoughts in the comments below. What did you discover about life after 50? We're excited to know. Till then, tune in for another video coming soon.